Hi everybody. I wanted to share a story about suffering today that really hit a chord with me. It was a story told by Ram Dass, who's passed away sadly. Philosopher, spiritualist. I'm sure there's lots of other descriptions. Excuse me, I'm getting very pink, aren't I? It's really quite warm. I thought it was going to be cold, but it's not. I'm out walking the dogs. And he tells this he tells this story to illustrate a point about the way we can suffer. And he's at an airport. He's on the way to give a very important talk at a very important conference because he's a very important person. He's a slightly satirical, talking about himself. Very humble person when you listen to him. But he goes to the check-in at the airport and he's late. And they close the gates. And so he is pleading and goes through the different stages of negotiation with the lady on the desk. And she just sits there and her expression doesn't change and neither does her answer. And he goes from pleading to rage to frustration to cajoling, everything, every different approach under the sun. And every time she just sits there and says, nope, you're not getting on. The gates are closed. Until eventually he says to her, I'm not getting on this flight, am I? And she says, no, you're not, sir. He says, right. And he says it was at that point, that was the point at which he finally accepted he wasn't going to get on the flight. He had missed it, that his suffering ended. And the frustration and the negativity and the anger and the rage, it just dissipated, it went. And then he was able to go into, okay, so what options do I have? Now I have accepted that that is beyond my control. There's nothing I can do about it. I am putting my energy into a vortex that is not going to give me anything back. What options do I have? When's the next flight? The conference he was going to was running over more than one day. Gosh, listen to me huffing and puffing. You can tell I am actually a bit unfit. I think you can tell I'm out walking on the fields. Sorry, I digress. So, and then his energy completely lifted and things became very different. And actually the world started to flow. So he did book himself on the flight the next morning. He was able to speak to the conference organisers who were able to shift the schedule and move his talk to the afternoon of the next morning. And basically all was resolved. But it was a really so practical, very accessible story that he was telling about when the penny dropped for him, where he was causing his own suffering. And I think that there are many times, I definitely know in my life, where I'm trying to use force to push a boulder up a hill. And it doesn't feel very nice. It's a very negative, conflict-driven approach to things, and it's knackering. And, you know, you feel like the world's against you and it's so unfair and why this. And sometimes things just are. Sometimes you just have to go, okay, it is what it is. I can't change that. What options do I now have? What is my next best step? Where do I go from here? And the reason I'm just sharing and telling that story is it brings into my mind many, many, many times, and it has helped me enormously just in my everyday life, in my attempt to live my everyday life in a less conflict, knackering, rat race type way. And I thought if it helped me, it might help others too. So I hope that does. Okay. All the best. With love. Bye.